On PM Express tonight, the image behind me, from government to opposition, one-on-one with Koku Anyidoho. Well, he has been in hibernation as far as the media is concerned for a while. He's a man who made headlines, thriving on the media, really. And his position back then was communications director. And yet, he found a way to just go totally blackout on the media for a while. Tonight, we'll see if we can bring him back into the limelight here on PM Express. Remember, there's a lot really that we can talk about Koku Anyidoho. And for those of you who wonder, you know, what we know about him, I just want to quickly run through for you what we know about Koku Anyidoho. And those who are not politically inclined, as you know, others may be, he is a man who headed the communications directorate of the presidency under former President Mills. That's him. He was very powerful then. I dealt with him a lot, and so I know. He was then, after Mills died, he moved and became a student, was elected. Again, I was there when he was elected in Kumasi, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. He lost to the, of course, a very powerful man in the party, Johnson Nketia, very recently, when the party went to the polls to elect your national executives. He lost to Johnson Nketia. There's a lot to say about this and how that happened. Also, there have been a few controversies, by the way, in this day. A man this larger than life cannot operate without a few controversies. And so, you remember heads will roll, that controversy? That was one of the things that, indeed, people remember him famously for. It had to do with some ECG blackouts and a football match, and he spoke on radio, and he was very authoritative. Reported to have a fractured relationship with John Dramani Mahama, ex-president, as well. However, very recently again, this last year, he was arrested by the BNI, and there was a whole big media coverage and controversy surrounding this, accused of treason, was put behind, you know, the BNI. We don't even know where exactly he was put, but he emerged finally with his lawyers having fought this quite hard. So tonight he is my guest, and we'll be having a conversation about everything else, no holds barred, really. You want to sit and listen to the man. If you've missed him, he is here tonight. And we'll be delving into this NDC, his own political career, where he's going next, his affinity and love for John Mills, and there is some revelations that he'll be telling us about some book in the works as far as, you know, John Mills is concerned. Stay with us here on PMS. When we return, my guest is seated. The conversation will be underway. My guest in the studio, Koku Anyidoho, is a former Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. He used to be the Communications Director of the Presidency once, and he joins me in the studio. I'm grateful that you joined us here on PM Express.
Pleasure, Evans.
How have you been?
Very well, by God's grace.
I mean, where have you been also? Because
Where have I been?
Yes.
Within the geographical space called Ghana.
Ghana, okay. But well hidden from the spotlight?
Not necessarily so. I think that... I'm sure even in your job you go on leave, don't you?
Yes.
Let's just say I've been legging it out since 2001 on a daily basis. So I'm sure towards the end of last year, it was opportune time for me to just, you know, hang my gloves a bit and take a rest. So I've been around and I'm just enjoying my rest.
Your rest. And when he talks about legging it out, he meant it literally, because in 2001 thereabout, he used to walk with the good old Prof, campaigning door to door. I say that because I was there with him. We walked for miles, knocking on people's doors. I was covering it, but I was not campaigning. I was covering it whilst he walked. That was a lot of. That's your contribution. You paid your dues to a man that you really loved.
Yeah, President Mills. I mean, July 24th this year will be 7 years.
You know how I remember that date? I always say 24/7.
Well, yeah.
Because 7th day of the month, on the 24th day of the 7th day of the month. So, you know, you say 24/7, July 24th.
Exactly.
24/7. So it just one of those you can never forget.
Yeah. It will be 7 years, July 24th this year, since he passed on. May his soul rest in peace. And I will never forget what the chief physician told us on that day when we were in smithereens, virtually losing it, crying. And the chief physician just said, look, we should allow him to go and rest. And that he had defied medical science for 8 years. He had defied medical science for 8 years, and so we should allow him to go and rest, which means that clinically or medically, whatever, he should have passed on 8 years. And I do recall a number of times that he would say to me that, look, Oku, I'm not a loser, I'm not a loser, I'm not a loser. I'm going to win an election for the NDC. I'm going to win an election for NDC. Before, if I have to die, I'll die. So I think it is willpower. And
He told you that?
Oh, yes. And like you said in your preamble, I think that there are certain facts that are going to come out, hopefully so, in his biography.
Oh, you're writing a book about him?
Well, yeah, myself and Professor Kwame Nahoe, 2 years ago, when we were remembering the passing away of Prof, we decided that, look, in order for the history and the story not to be distorted somewhere along the line, it's important that we get together and do proper documentation. So in the past 1.5 years, so hard politics aside, I've been doing a lot of writing. In fact, writing happens to be one of my fortes, God-given. And I do a lot of writing. And I used to write all President Mills's speeches in opposition and in government. And actually, it was my writing skills that created a real attraction between the two of us. So, yes, myself and Professor Kwame Nahoe have been working on the biography. In fact, about 3 weeks ago, we gave the manuscript out to a proofreader to start doing the proofreading, and hopefully, God willing, as we remember 7 years of the passing away of President Mills in July, we should be able to launch the biography. It's a 25-chapter biography. We've interviewed close to 80 people, Ghanaians, I mean, you just name it. Family members from Cape Coast, close associates from Legon days, schoolmates from Achimota School, Legon, people he worked with at IRS, students he taught at the faculty, the School of Administration. Of course, then, as a sportsman, we've interviewed all kinds of people, also Hearts of Folk, the Ghana Olympic Committee. Then, of course, as a politician and statesman, we've interviewed, including President Kufuor and many people, Professor Kilakpasoya, Professor Boche, Mr. Atuaho, Mr. Tobikwachi, Mrs. Cecilia Johnson, many. Okay. So, when I looked at the manuscript the last time, when we're giving it to the proofreader, it looked like an exciting prospect for us to launch that book. It will be a great read.
I would look forward to that. And so he unfortunately passed, and you were tied to him, very loyal. And so when he passed, you had to find your way. I remember the day that he was buried. I actually saw you by the roadside with Otokuno, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure you remember. I remember very well. When the Asunju Park had just been buried, the ceremony was done, and you were standing with Otokuno by the roadside, and you still had tears in your eyes. And so you had to move on. You went to hibernation for a while and then emerged again to contest to become the Deputy General Secretary of the party.
Well, Evans, yes. I mean, I'm sure that I'm a great believer in Darwin's theory of evolution. There's no system that is static. There's no society that is static. And so I'm a Darwinian, by all intents and purposes. So I believe in the theory of evolution, and that times change. And when the times change, you change with the times, or you evolve with the times. So yes, I don't think I was born to be a presidential aide and head of communication at the presidency for life. So President Mills was no more, and so one had to move on. And there's so many ways of serving the party. there are so many ways of getting one, feet deep into party work. So yeah, so I decided to move on. And like you're saying, in Kumasi in 2014,
Yes.
December,
Yes.
I was elected as a Deputy General Secretary. And so yes, I served the party in that capacity. Yeah.
You said 2014, you part of those who supervised the 2016. You were in the executive when that happened.
Yes.
Devastating defeat.
Comfortable lead.
You were the one. You were the one who was on air talking about comfortable lead. What happened when you said a comfortable lead?
Actually,
Where did you get that confidence to say that? You must have been saying that, knowing, or somebody having convinced you that you were winning, or you knew you were losing, yet said comfortable lead.
No, I didn't. I don't think that I'm in the business of lying.
Okay.
We were doing some results tabulation. We had gotten maybe close to 115 constituencies at the time. And don't forget that we currently have about 106 members of parliament.
Yes.
So if you are doing 115, and depending on which constituencies that you were collating at the time, you could be in a comfortable lead. You understand? But of course, the rest came in, 275, and let's just say that lead at the time, cascaded into something else. So I wasn't lying.
Okay. So as at the time you were speaking, your collation showed you that you were leading.
Yes, it's a slim margin.
Okay.
Just a slim margin, a little over 50.
But that was not comfortable lead then.
Well,
that's a slim lead.
well. If you're looking at 50 plus 1, even 50 point, not. If it gives you it gives you the 50 plus whatever, you are there. So no, it wasn't. I wasn't.
So you weren't deceived.
No. I wasn't Fabian at all. No, it was to just let our party people know that, hey, whatever was coming from the NPP side, don't forget that Samia Wuku, we had finished elections, let's say 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And the electoral law says that even after 5 p.m., once you're in the queue, you're still allowed to vote. So deep, maybe 10 o'clock, people were still voting. Yet by 1 a.m., the time that armed robbers wake up and disturb our sleep and try to steal our properties, around 1 a.m., then you hear the NPP holding a press conference, McMenu, and claiming that they had won the elections. Why? Were they trying to rob? And so we had to just also enter our engine room and come up with what we had at the time.
So it was a reaction to the NPP?
Well, certainly so.
Okay.
Because elections wasn't, the 1 a.m., results were still coming in. Where did they get their figures from? Then by morning time, Samia Wuku was also all over the place, filibustering. And so we had to also tell our side of the story. Well, it so happened that by the time the EC declared,
the story was different.
We had lost.
But your collation system crashed, did it not? Or failed you quite woefully?
It didn't crash. We had challenges. We had challenges with some of the figures coming in from the very distant areas.
As in, it couldn't come as you expected?
Exactly.
Or came, but your system could not tabulate it properly?
It didn't come with the speed that we thought it should come.
Yeah.
So it came in some fits and starts at a point in time.
But you know what astounds me about that? For a party in power, the MPP beat you to that.
Well,
because you will have.
Don't forget that in 2008.
In terms of the collation.
Or in 2008, when we were also in opposition, we also beat them to it.
Yeah.
So let's just say that at one point you are very, very efficient. At one point, maybe you just
What
decide
contributed to the inefficiency in 2016 then?
Well, the issues are wide and varied, and I'm sure the Kwesi report came up with many reasons.
But for you, what was it?
Oh, I'm sure, as the report had it, there was a lot of apathy. And maybe also taking it for granted that we had committed ourselves to a lot of infrastructure development. Because in 2008, when President Mills was leading the charge, we campaigned on 4 thematic areas: infrastructure expansion, openness and transparency in governance, building a strong and resilient economy, and then job creation. And I think we focused a lot on infrastructure expansion and must have thought that it was enough, to take us over the finishing line. But of course, the roads don't vote. They don't have, roads, first of all, are not human beings. So the roads per itself will not vote. The hospital will not vote. The water projects will not vote. Human beings will vote. So let's just say we focus more on the infrastructure. Maybe we forget about a bit about that person-to-person kind of thing, which led to apathy. And because if you look at the figures, around the 10 regions, we didn't up our numbers. Yeah, we didn't up our numbers, all the 10 regions.
And Volta region showed that a lot of the people didn't turn out to vote in the Volta, as they normally would.
Yeah, not Volta alone, like I said, all the other 9. Yeah.
But Volta really because of its...
don't forget, for example, but then again, if you look at the Volta situation, it's interesting. Yes, people will talk about Volta, but then again, in terms of doing the stats, Volta region is the only region that gave us 100% in terms of the seats that we had prior to the elections. We have 26 seats in the Volta region. We had 25. Yeah. So we went into the election with 25 and came back with 25.
However, if you look at the individual constituencies, you're finding that votes were dropping.
Certainly, everywhere.
Yeah.
Central region, for example, we have 23 seats in the central region.
We lost almost all.
We lost 19.
Yeah.
We have 29 seats in Brong-Ahafo. We have only 9, I think 9. So we lost 20 in Brong-Ahafo. Northern region, seats that we shouldn't have lost, we lost in the northern region. So all around, it just didn't look good for us at the tail end, So I guess the Kosibocho report has given us some clear indication. Luckily, we've walked on that roadmap sufficiently, and we're hoping that once we pull out of the February 23rd presidential primaries, and we have the arrowhead, that is to say we have a flag bearer. Once we give an arrowhead to the campaign going to 2020, then we can now, I think, focus more and then decide on the
Talking about
what to do.
There's a statement that you have issued today relating to that primary, and it relates to a petition that you received. And I'm saying you because you're part of a committee that is in charge of the elections. And the 6 aspirants wrote a petition to you raising concerns about the poll. You have responded to them. You met them.
We met them.
Yes.
We met them this morning. The committee is chaired by Comrade Kofi Ato. So we met them this morning. Honorable Bagbin was there in person. Honorable Spiogabra was there in person. Honorable Sylvester Manster was there in person. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was represented by an accredited agent of his. Same as Professor Joshua Alabi. He was represented by Lawyer Kojoga Adaudu. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was represented by Nijang Mavandapoy. Then Comrade Guzitano was represented by Lawyer Chitri Opoku. And then Nuruddin, Alhaji Nuruddin Idrisu. He also was represented. And so we had a very, 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 very healthy discussion with them. Of course, pertaining to the issues they raised, having to do with the voters register. And so as I speak to you now, there's a technical working committee, joint working committee. The aspirants will give us some persons from their technical brain boxes that will work with us. And so we can find the best way for it in terms of the rest of the processes, i.e. the register, and then the printing of the ballot papers, and then the distribution of the ballot papers. So they are allowed to send agents to the printing press for them to keep an eye on the processes from start to finish. They are allowed, if they so wish, to follow the EC as the EC does the distribution across the chain of the electoral materials. They are allowed. Of course, they will have agents at all the 275 or 76 voting centers, because we are voting in all the 275 constituencies. I say 276 because the party headquarters in Accra, Adabraka, will also be a voting center, which will take care of our friends in the diaspora and maybe people like us who are on the committee. So some quasi-special voting, so that we can then be able to concentrate on the real supervision work that will be done. So, so every constituency will have a voting center. So let's just say, this is which constituency? Joy FM is in which constituency? Kokomemle, you are in. Is it one of the Ayawaso? Yes. So there will be one center for this constituency.
That's where people go.
And then we'll move the people from their branches to vote at the constituency. Then they can go back to their branches. And voting is the normal voting time between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Then the results will be collated at the constituency level, sent to the region, and then it will hit national. There will be a strong room at the EC's head office. That one also, the contestants or the aspirants are allowed to have agents with us at the strong room. But the real declaration will be done at the party headquarters.
Okay.
So after everything has come and hit the EC, we now move the EC to the party headquarters, where the EC official in charge of the elections will do the final official declaration of the results.
Talking about the primaries, and this is really a contest that will define the NDC, because if you get this wrong, you probably will lose 2020 as well.
Yeah.
And most people say that this is a formality because John Dramani Mahama will win this hands down. I know you're on the committee. You can't take sides on this matter.
Exactly.
However, there's rumor, and you know this, that you have a very fractured relationship with John Dramani Mahama. Is that true?
It's not true. It's not true.
You're on good terms with him?
It's not true. Certainly.
With John Dramani Mahama?
Certainly.
But people believe. Why do you think that view is so entrenched?
I don't know.
There must be some basis to it.
It's the media. You choose to create your own stories and enjoy it and swim in it, and then...
You do something to him when he was vice?
No.
Because I've heard rumors about how you were very powerful, then not even the vice president was as powerful as you.
It can be true with us. It can be true. It's just the creation of some of your colleagues.
Yeah.
And maybe there was no official reaction from my side at that point in time, because I think we all focused on the job and delivering on our promises. Hey, but then again, one of my political godfathers was the one who said that, look, if they're creating stories about you and it's not true, and they think that you are powerful, why do you want to go out there and go and dispute that fact? Once they're not saying you have stolen anything, you understand, or you are engaged in anything fraudulent, why leave them, let them create their own story and enjoy it, and just focus on your work. Of course, President Mills also himself will say, look, if you're not careful, you begin to respond to rumor. They will create more rumors on a daily basis. Just stay focused and do your work. And so, that's it.
You're on talking terms with him?
Oh, certainly. He
calls you?
We chat, certainly. And don't forget that, like you just said, I'm a member of the, what do you call it?
The Elections Committee.
Elections Electoral Committee. So we are supervising 7 of us. Like I said, chaired by Honorable Kofi Ato. And so at this point, we have to be away from, any forms of endorsement. But that has actually been my position from day one. Even as General Secretary of the Deputy General Secretary, as you know, we've had several conversations where I have said constantly, see, because when this is all said and done, you will still need neutrals to be able to do the bridging. And it's important that some neutrals remain so that we can do the bridging.
Are you a neutral?
As I said, I'm a neutral, yeah.
You don't support any of them?
No.
You don't have a favorite? You don't have a horse in the race?
The delegates will decide.
But you will vote?
The delegates will decide.
But you are a delegate, are you not?
I'm a delegate. So I have a vote.
You vote for somebody?
Yes, I have a vote. I vote for somebody. Even the EC has even Jean Mensa will be voting. So, no, but I think that I'm very excited about the meeting we had today. It went very, very well. And let me also say kudos to the aspirants and all their representatives that were there.
Are they happy with the outcome?
Yeah, 2.5 hour to 3 hour meeting, and it went very well. No acrimony, and we just ironed out the issues. We leveled the playing field, and I respect them. Kudos to them. Yeah.
You have been out of the executives for a few months now, after the... Why did you decide to contest your boss?
Was it November, eh?
Yes.
November, December, January.
Yeah, it's okay to 3 months.
So just 2 months.
Why did you decide to contest your boss? People say there was a political miscalculation.
You think that when President Kufuor lost in 1996, it was a political miscalculation? Do you think that when President Mills did not win in 2000, it was a miscalculation? Or in 2004? Or you think that when Nana Akufo-Addo did not win in 2008 and 2012, miscalculation? Like I said, if you do the trend, President Kufuor didn't win 1996. He came back and won 2000. President Mills didn't win 2000, 2004, he won 2008. Nana Akufo-Addo didn't win 2008, 2012, he's won 16. So there's nothing suicidal about it. It's an election. Besides, I don't think that the position, you know, anybody has a patent to any position. So, yes, the thing was open, and I chose to contest. I went through the processes. Elections were run, delegates voted, the EC declared results. In the supreme interest of the party, we accept the declared results and we move on. So, nothing suicidal.
Did you at any point think, and maybe that may have spurred you on to contest as the General Secretary position, that your boss was not going to contest?
I think I've said that openly several times, and not to belabor the point. So it was not a reckless decision. It was a well-calculated decision. And
what were the factors that went into this?
If you ask me, I have no regrets at all. Going around the country is nothing new. Like you said, we've been doing it since 2001 with President Mills. So the terrain is not new. And indeed, I enjoy, you know, the moving around, you know, meeting the delegates who are in their hamlets and in their homesteads and under the trees and all over the place. Oh boy, when you are driving from, if you have ever driven from Gushegu to Chireponi.
Yeah.
Oof.
I did that in 2016 with my ballot box program. I went to Fumbisi and you driving
I'm telling you, some just
dead roads.
Yeah. One region.
Yeah.
Moving from one constituency to another constituency, just from Gushegu to Chireponi.
Most of them middle of nowhere.
I'm telling you.
And all of a sudden,
it's like six. I'm telling you, six. It's very undulating, the terrain. But then after you have done it, there's some excitement. I remember spending one night in Saboba, and I did that because then there was some issue that was pending in Saboba. And
this is all in the lead up to the contest.
Yeah, in the lead up to the contest.
The leadership contest.
Yeah, because we had to do it, so we did it, and. Like I said, no regrets.
No regrets.
No.
However, we need to clear this up. Just before we're going to talk to you on this matter, you were in fact reported that you spoke to Nita FM and said that Asedun Ketia had told you he was not going to run. Did you say that to Nita FM?
I did say it on Nita FM.
Asedun Ketia, in response to that on Asempa FM, said, quote, "Everyone should have known the claim by Anyidoho is not true. I'm not a kingmaker to decide who succeeds me, even if I decide not to contest." He fumed. He again says, "I was shocked when I saw the story online. I thought it was fake. Bakoku is not my personal secretary, so he cannot make decisions for me."
Like I'm saying that, I don't want to belabor the point. I made a statement.
Was that true?
I swear to my God, it's true.
How did you know that was true?
I'm the one who said I was told that, and I say it's true.
Asedun Ketia told you he was not going to contest.
I said I've made that point.
I mean, just clarify.
Yes.
You knew it to be true.
Yeah, I knew it to be true.
Because he told you that he was not going to contest. So what reason would he have to tell the public that
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But like I'm saying, hey, man, so the experience was good. Like I said, I have no regrets. My conscience is clean. My heart is clean. Hey, business as usual, and we are on. So I'm a member of the committee now. Don't forget that I'm the one who was campaigning with the message of party first. Party first, party first, party first. And let me be fair to the General Secretary. He personally called me to be a member of this committee.
In spite of that?
Oh yeah, he called me. So there's no bad blood. Yeah. Oh yeah, he personally called me. Yeah. That look, we're setting up this committee, and if you're available.
I get that after elections, when tensions come, because you had time to reflect. He's had time to reflect. So people tend to mend the bridge.
But that is the best.
But that,
you see, but that is the best. That is why. So in all honesty, I will salute him. You see, because I don't understand people who win elections and then rather exactly. You understand? So, if anything at all, I think that I must respect General Mosquito.
Did you guys have a meeting and discuss this?
Because
this was a pivotal moment in your relationship with him. When he went public and said, "I didn't tell you that," disregard what he's saying. You're saying to me that he told you that he was.
I didn't argue that issue. If you notice, for some time I went off the radio.
You did?
Yeah, because I was dealing with delegates. And so when I met delegates, I told them and gave them the instances and the results.
Why do you think that he didn't own up to the fact that he told you?
Let's not go there.
No, but that is important.
Let's not go there. I think that the elections are over. And like I said, first of all, there was no acrimony. We didn't run an acrimonious campaign.
It wasn't?
No.
Publicly?
I don't think.
But the tension was felt by all.
You people decided to feel the tension.
You didn't feel the tension?
No, what tension?
The man was on radio saying you lied. You lied about him not running.
That is his
and your reaction was to keep quiet.
That is his
and so you know you are a very astute communicator. In the absence of information,
you see, I wasn't going to turn the campaign into a media war, because that's what you people enjoy. You're always baying for blood, and somehow Anyidoho seems to provide a lot of blood. And so I told myself that, look, no, let me not turn this thing into a media war, because knowing very well that whichever way, there must still be a working relationship. You understand? And so I have no regrets at all that I didn't spend time responding to that. I put out something. I believe in my heart of hearts that I told the truth. If for some reason somebody says something else, I will not belabor the point. I will not fight the person.
Would you still have made that decision to run to become a general secretary if you had not been told that?
Good question. Good question. If I had not been told that, to be fair, I'm sure maybe the dynamics could have been different. The dynamics could have been different.
How different?
Oh well, it could have affected my decision. Whether to run or not to run.
Whether to run. Would you have most likely stayed as a deputy and contested for that position?
I'll be conjecturing. That is, had it been so. So it was not so.
Knowing yourself, if you had not been told that, what decision would have been most probable back then in making a decision?
I'm not too sure. Maybe I would still have contested.
As
a general secretary.
As a general secretary?
Yeah.
Even when you had not been told that he was not going to run. But definitely it would have affected your decision.
I won't deny the fact that it could have had some bearing.
On what decision you came to?
I won't deny that fact, yeah. But like I said, no regrets. I mean, you've made new friends, you've consolidated old ones. And also, it allowed me to knock down a lot of the misconception. There's a lot of misconception out there. And so engaging nationwide, almost every constituency, and you meet people who are like, look, Massa, meeting you one-on-one has dispelled a lot of the things we used to hear about you. A lot of the things we used to hear about you. Why? Evans, even staying through the elections at Trade Fair and being there to the very end and walking up on the podium or the stage to concede defeat and say, oh, look, hey, man.
Party first.
Party first.
I still remember that statement.
And the calls that I got from people, because people were...
It was magnanimous of you.
There was some erroneous impression out there that I was going to go reacting negatively. And this whole business...
Are you bitter, though? Is there any bitterness in you?
No.
Because there's a school of thought that says that the party conspired, forces in the party conspired against you. And that John Sasiru Nketia, having made a decision not to run, was told by a certain group of people in the party that we cannot work with Koku if he wins. So Sasiru Nketia, please, I know you don't want to go, but because of Koku, go and run. Do you feel that you were conspired against?
Vice versa. You have come up with some side of a certain story.
Yeah. Is that a true account of what happened?
So some people say.
So you've heard it too?
Oh, I've heard. And I've heard so many other things.
But is it true that the party conspired against you? Or forces in the party conspired against you?
That one I can't tell. You will have to ask the Heavenly Father to cut open the minds of people and tell me what was in their minds or is in their mind. Otherwise, I won't know. But let's also not forget that, look, hey, there are so many things that go into an election. And like I said, I have no regrets at all. Give me the opportunity. I'll take back those steps and walk, the same path. And the larger interest is that of the party.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I'm prepared to serve in any capacity. And also don't forget that if you want to do the ratio, I'm sure for every one elected executive, you will get maybe 1,000 non-elected executives.
Yeah.
But we are all part of the NDCs, are not it?
Yeah.
We are all under the umbrella. So we can't all be executives in order to serve the party.
Yeah.
We serve the party in different capacities. And like I've said, in my various capacities that I've served as head of communications at Kuku Hill for the campaign team for President Mills, as a presidential aide and his communications director at the presidency and also spokesperson for him at a point in time, I had no regrets working for him. As Deputy General Secretary, I had no regrets working for the party.
Yeah.
Now,
was your loyalty to the NDC shaking at all in the last few months after all that you've been through with elections?
No, I don't think that I will allow anybody to break.
Was there any moment when you doubted whether you want to continue with this party? You probably harbored the thoughts of breaking away from the NDC.
No,
forming your own political party.
No.
Or joining something.
No.
Or just quitting politics.
No. Breaking away from the NDC and going where? If that is the wish of somebody or some persons, that Anyidoho breaks away from the party. Of course, recently I read some story that did the rounds that myself and former President Rawlings and Dr. Kumbo and some people were planning to. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Preposterous to the extreme.
You guys haven't met to plot?
Plot what?
An out of breakaway?
Look, the cadres are an integral part of the NDC. In fact, the cadres formed the party in 1992. Those who don't know the history. The cadres gave birth to the party in 1992. The cadres are an integral part of the party. You understand? Yeah. So if we salute our cadres, 31st December anniversary, Article 54 of our party's constitution, it is there in black and white that 31st December is known as Accountability Day. And so we so celebrate that day. So Koko Anyidoho will participate in 31st December. Koko Anyidoho will join the cadres to remember the revolution. And if that is what is making me break away from the party, too bad. As Americans will say, I ain't going nowhere.
So you're still loyal to this NDC and the cause?
When it comes to my religion, I'm loyal to my Bible and my Christianity. When it comes to my football, I'm loyal to my Hearts of Oak and to my Arsenal. When it comes to politics, I'm loyal to my NDC.
Final question, and we'll take a break. Your political future.
Are you now a clairvoyant?
I'm going to ask you because
you want to read into my future.
You're the only person who can answer that question. You're no longer in the leadership of the party. Of course, you're still serving the party in other capacities. What does the future hold for you? Are you still active politics, NDC?
Of course. But don't forget that even this 7-member committee that is overseeing this presidential primary, that's a key job. To make sure that we walk out of this thing solid. Because reputations are on the line. If we don't do it well, we are in trouble.
So what do you want to do? You want to still run next time the opportunity comes for a party position, or you want to go the way of an MP?
No, I think that our MPs are doing a wonderful job, and those who want to continue to be MPs,
you don't want to be an MP?
Them. No, I'm not contesting.
Would you contest another leadership position?
I'm not contesting for any seat. You see, don't forget that people have. I come from Ho Central. I come from Tanyibe, which is in the Ho Central constituency.
A seat you would have won easily if you stood.
I don't doubt that I could have.
But you don't want to?
No, the dynamics are interesting. The current MP for the constituency comes from Tanyibe.
Yeah.
The Honorable Benjamin Podo.
Yeah.
Comes from Tanyibe.
Okay.
Kofiato was the first MP from Taviefe. Then, what's his name? Captain Infojo took it for 2 terms, and then now Bodo Ben from 2 terms. I think that there are so many towns and villages in whole Central that, for whatever reason, and for just for the basis of equity and fairness, I don't think that when one Tanyibe man finishes, another Tanyibe man should go. Let it go elsewhere. So I'm not contesting any seat. No.
We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll talk about his relationship with former President Rawlings. And as you said, he's categorically denied claims that he had met with former President Rawlings to plot a breakaway from the NDC. And some say that the NDC currently is as much a John Mahama party as it is Jerry Rawlings' party. So we'll explore his views on that. And then, what does he make of the NPP and the government currently in power? We'll assess his views on that, and obviously you would talk about his relationship with the cadres of the NDC. He seemed to have a very strong link with the NDC cadres. Stay with us here on PM Express. My guest in the studio tonight is Anyidoho, who is a former Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, used to be the Director of Communications at the Presidency. Mr. Anyidoho, recently, last year, you were arrested and charged with treason. That case we know has been dropped. And because he made pronouncements that suggested, and of course, according to the powers that be, then the CID suggested that the coup is imminent or might happen. Do you regret those comments?
Evans, what did I say? I was having a conversation with one of your colleagues on the radio, and I said, look, history has a very interesting way of repeating itself. And is it not true that history tends to repeat itself? And that something happened in 1972. There was a military takeover. This time around, we're not tolerating the military, so it's going to be us civilians who will register our displeasure. And what was the issue? That issue that was the time that the clouds were very heavy as far as handing over part of Ghanaian soil to the Americans, was concerned for them to have their military base. And that was the issue that was boiling at the time. I was like, look, hey, no, slow down. Don't sell our sovereignty. History has a very interesting way of repeating itself. So I got picked up. It was a Thursday. It was, no. It was a Tuesday. That was the Passion Week.
There was a press conference you were at.
It was a Passion Week, yes. That was the Easter week. So Tuesday, got picked up. Then they went and searched my house and did everything. And then they said they won't grant me bail. So I had to spend 48 hours. You say you didn't know where I was. I was somewhere.
Yeah.
But like I said when I came out, to be fair to the issues, because I'm not going to want to just score cheap political points. To be fair, nobody maltreated me. Okay. And I want to make that point very clear. Nobody maltreated me.
But do you fundamentally regret those comments you made?
It was, what did I really say? I mean,
history has a way of repeating
itself. History has a way of repeating itself.
The coup d'etat and the president's father's relationship then and all that might repeat itself.
But the AG dropped the case because there was nothing that could be pushed in court. I have chosen not to make mileage out of it. So
I guess maybe the message is friendly. If you had the opportunity, would you repeat the way you said it the same way?
Evans, what did I say? You just tell me what I really said.
Yeah. What you said is what you just repeated.
Exactly.
So, and I'm saying, is it something that you repeat again?
Well, I will say it. Because without malice, that look, hey, let's be careful. Let's not run this party, run the nation aground. You understand? Let's not allow history. In fact, the import of that was that let's not allow that part of our history to repeat itself. And if you're not careful, it can be repeated. That is the real import of it. You understand that? Let's not go down that path. We are walking a dangerous path, and let's not do it. But hey, as the French say, c'est la vie. Such is life. So that one also has come and gone. And we are moving on.
There's a statement that has been made often recently because of the emergence of John Mahama, but it's about Rawlings also, and that's where I go next. It's that the NDC currently in 2019 is as much a Jerry John Rawlings party as it is a John Mahama party. Do you agree?
I have always said, and when I said it the first time, people did not understand me, but hey, I will say it again, that you see, I said, what did I say? I said leadership rotates. Is that not it?
Yeah.
Then, like I said earlier on about society evolving, and then we all go through an evolutionary process. So there's nothing which is static. There's leaders who come and go. My loyalty at any point in time is to whoever becomes the leader of the NDC. You understand? That is where my loyalty is. President Rawlings is the founder of the party. Why? We must respect him as the founder of the party. And I'll tell you one thing President Mills told me, one good advice he gave me, and I don't regret that advice at all. This was in the build-up to the Sunyani Congress in 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
The Fonka Games.
Fonka Games, exactly. And to re-elect President Mills as a flag bearer. And we all know what was happening in those days, especially from the Fonka angle. You know, where some young chaps did not spare the president at all, President Mills. I mean, they didn't hide their dislike for him, and words that fell from their lips, very uncharitable. And I do recall somebody calling me at one point in time and saying, Koko, look, why are you just sitting down there quiet and these people are insulting President Mills? You're the director of communications. What are you sitting down there? You're supposed to be going after President Rawlings and making sure you hit hard at him, because what he's doing to the president is not good. Of course, there was no way I was going to do it. But just because President Mills is my boss, I walked up to him and said, Mr. President, this is it. You know, somebody, this is so called and said, this, that. I should go after Rawlings. Then President Mills said, Skoku, sit down. And he said, never in your life should you insult President Rawlings. Never, don't do it. Nobody should mislead you into taking a sad decision, because it will destroy your political career. Because, yes, I'm older than Rawlings, referring to himself. Say, Koko, I'm older than President Rawlings. I was a senior in Achimota School. I actually even wanted to join the military because I was in the Achimota School Cadet Corps. It was at the last stage that the military high command itself decided that, look, having looked at my A-level results, I should go to the university. So it means that in every sense of the word, you know, like I'm senior to President Rawlings. But because God does his own things in his own way, God made President Rawlings president and made me vice president in '96. Rawlings went ahead to do the Swedro Declaration that allowed me to stay attached to the NDC. So if I'm president today, apart from thanking God Almighty, if I have to thank human beings, President Rawlings will be one of the first people I'll thank. So no matter what he does that may hurt me, Koku, please, you should be the last person who should go after Rawlings. Evans, and I have no regrets taking that advice from President Mills. So as I sit down here, President Rawlings is the founder of the party. If he invites me for meetings in his capacity as the founder, I will go.
Does his hold on the party as
you cannot downplay
as ironclad as he used to be?
You can't downplay the importance of President Rawlings in the NDC equation.
But however, today, John Dramani Mahama wields more power over the NDC than he does.
President Mahama was the leader of the NDC.
Yeah.
He was president, he was leader. We respected him and we owed allegiance to him and we wept for him. It doesn't take away from the fact that President Rawlings is the founder of the party. And if I recall, almost all the flag bearer aspirants, before really coming out officially to declare their intention, all went to him. So if they are going to him, why should Koko Anyidoho go to him and have a chat with him on the way forward for the NDC?
MPP, a party you've played several key roles in opposition and in government fighting, have been in power. Nanado has been in power for, and you said you famously said that he would never be president.
I said I had a bad dream.
Yes,
and that he had become president. And then I was wishing the dream didn't come true.
But famously, paraphrasing, you had actually predicted that there's no way he would become president.
Which also means that I'm only human, is that not it?
Yes.
And that God is the ultimate.
How do you assess his last 2 years?
Well, I remember when I represented the party at the MPP's Congress in Cape Coast in 2017. And I referred to, of course, I had to address him as His Excellency President Akufo-Addo. Oh man, the screaming hit the roof.
Yeah.
Because it's like, Koko has
Finally
acknowledged
that the man is president.
But he's the president of the Republic of Ghana. He's the one who flies our flag. He's the one who uses the coat of arms. And so we'll put him in that place and respect him as president of the Republic of Ghana. In terms of the governance style, first of all, they think differently from us. Yeah. So they have their own way of thinking, we have our own way of thinking. In terms of the governance agenda, I keep saying that governance is not a tea party. Yeah. Neither is it an alligator race. It's a race of caution. I think that some of the things that he has done, he's just gone on the alligator path, wanting to score some points. And I think I've done so many articles in the past where I say, look, it's all about empty sloganeering and no real substance.
Do you give him credit for anything? Because we just out of time. Do you give him credit for anything? What do you could give him credit for?
What am I supposed to give him credit for? President Akufo-Addo?
For the last years. Anything you give him credit for?
Well, I give him credit for having won the 2016 elections.
And giving you your biggest defeat. Mr. Anyidoho, I'm grateful that you joined us.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes,
Thank you, my brother.
All the best in your future. That's Anyidoho. He's the former General Secretary of the NDC. He's also the former Director of Communications at the Presidency under John Mills. And he said a lot tonight, and I'm pretty sure that some of these will grab headlines, particularly if you're asking me to write a story. His relationship with Johnson Ketia will be a very juicy one to consider. Enjoy the rest of your evening.